Okay, so thank you all for joining us for the annual Queen Elizabeth II Award for British Design. Due to the COVID crisis is that we're doing this digitally, as you can see, but we'd still very much like you all to participate. So please send any questions that you have for this year's winner to me using the Q&A function, which is just underneath. And a little bit of housekeeping before we start is that we've already taken a screenshot, so please refrain from doing it, and you'll be able to get any assets from our comms team at the end of the session. So this award was created in recognition of the role of the fashion industry plays, both in society and diplomacy. And of course, how our young designers are not only incredible talent, but they make a difference in terms of society through sustainable practices and community engagement. We are delighted to have with us Her Royal Highness the Countess of Wessex this year to present the award. Your Royal Highness.
Thank you very much, Caroline. So my first important duty is to announce this year's winner. So on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen, I'm honoured to announce the 2021 winner of the Queen Elizabeth II Award for British Design to Priya Ahluwalia for Ahluwalia. Priya, congratulations. It's so exciting. Well done. How does it feel? For only the fourth winner of this amazing award.
It's very surreal. I feel really, really honoured and just overwhelmed. It's lovely to be recognised for something you love doing and care about so much. So I just feel very happy.
Yeah. I've now got the wonderful opportunity to have a bit of a chat to you. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions coming through, but I was actually listening to the radio the other day and they were talking about how people aren't buying as many clothes this year. Now, obviously the shops have been shut, but even online, people are not buying as many clothes. So of course, that's a big issue for the industry. So how has your brand fared this past year? And do you think in the next few months, do you think the market will bounce back particularly well? What do you think?
It's been a funny year because there's been so many brilliant things that have happened amongst, real turmoil for the retail industry. We did lose when the pandemic first hit, we did lose a few accounts, and some accounts didn't come back and say they wanted to buy more because of uncertainty. And, that was really scary. But I think because I run a very small brand, we're able to be agile and we were able to pivot the business and, think of new ideas. And I really do believe that not after the pandemic, I feel like it's going to be quite an ongoing thing, but as we're able to sort of interact more and be in society more, I really feel like people are going to be sort of really sick of actually having to just stay at home. And I think people will just want to enjoy themselves. So whether that's through, clothing and self-expression or, even just going out for a meal, I think everyone's going to be raring to have some enjoyment. So
yeah, let's hope it's good news for the retail industry. And now, you are a fantastic recycler and reuser of clothes. I mean, that's what your whole brand is all about. But I think for some people, particularly young designers coming through, it's really hard to know how to do that and where to start. So, would you have any advice for younger people coming into the industry as to how they can maximize on this good news thing of actually recycling and upcycling?
Yeah, I think when I first started and I did my graduate collection and I was on my MA, it was really like a case of I just used what was directly available to me. Was it things that I didn't want to wear anymore or I wasn't using anymore? I asked some of my friends, I do menswear, so a lot of my friends' boyfriends gave me bits and bobs. And it was, a case of just being resourceful. And I think actually a lot of students are naturally resourceful because they've got to be. So I think it's about using that natural skill that they have and applying it to think, how can we, gather materials? And sometimes I think it's worth it because it's actually more cost effective than other routes. So I think it's about using your network and about the people that you personally, and can you use social media and do a call out and ask if people have got certain materials. I think it's just about using your community, I think is
and what about from the other end of the market? What about for big brands? Because again, everybody needs to get better at this. So, do you think it is, how do you see that happening?
Yeah, so I think for big brands, it's harder because, if they're a huge brand, they've been running for a longer time, and it means that they've got a company culture that's going to take a long time to undo. It can't just be a media or a marketing ploy and say, we're going to be sustainable now. It takes, you have to really implement positive and like good practice at every level of business. So I think it will take a while, but you know, there's so many ways they can look to their own inventory, like what things as big businesses do they have left over, and who would be right for them to come in and rework that or repurpose that. You know, it could be a good opportunity to work with a smaller designer. I know London's full of some great ones, so they can take their pick. But yeah, it's like, how can they turn something that's seen as a liability into an asset? And I think that's a really good way to think about it, for planet and also for, you know, profits.
Yeah. Your autumn winter collection is just stuffed full of the most beautiful colors. They are stunning, and you draw a lot of influence from other, you know, from various aspects of your life. But tell me about the autumn winter collection, because it really, I just love the colors. They really are beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel shy now.
I wish I was a man, because
well, honestly, I think anyone can wear it. I think honestly it's for everyone. Doesn't matter if you're wherever you're from or whoever you are. But the autumn winter 21 collection and film that was made with Stephen Isaac Wilson was it all came from, normally, you know, I'm from India and Nigeria, and I'm very fortunate enough to be able to travel and do research, but you know, the pandemic has stopped all of that. So I've had time to read more, and I read Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi, and it's an amazing book, and it tells the story of two sisters born in Ghana, and they're separated at birth, and the book spans decades, and it really highlights like what our family heritage and how we move around the planet, how that affects our lives. And you know, it led me on a rabbit hole of discovery and research, and I looked into the Harlem Renaissance and artists that were really inspired by that. And one of the main ones was Kerry James Marshall, who is a phenomenal African-American painter, and his paintings actually really inspired the color palette for this season. That his paintings are known to be based in blacks and browns, and then have these really rich you know, primary colors throughout it. And so that was sort of the starting point.
I wonder if post-COVID in your future collections, there will be, like artists, you know, their mood of the time, or that, you know, a lot of critics will talk about the mood that person was going through. I wonder if there will be a future collection or collection that you're working on at the moment that will reflect the COVID era. I
definitely think so. I think I'm, you know, working on some projects I'm not allowed to really talk about, which so it's hard, but I've got something coming out at the end of March, beginning of April, that has definitely been informed by the fact that I'm desperate to go out and party again, and we're not able to do that. So I think that will definitely be reflected when we look back later on.
Yeah. And so where would you like to see your brand going in the next decade?
There's so many things I would love to do. I think that I would love to branch into women's wear and accessories. You know, long term, I would love to do homeware. I'm obsessed with homeware, and I think some Ahluwalia homeware would be really nice. But among all that, I'm always trying to, you know, create interesting projects, whether that's books or films that amplify different communities and different voices. And I think that I would love to be able to continue also doing those types of projects, and you know, have a leadership position in terms of advocating for positive change within our industry. So I hope, you know, all of those things, and I have fun at the same time.
Well, you're a brand in the truest sense of the word, because you cover so many different aspects. But and it's good news for the girls that you're going to be going into women's wear. That's great. I'm coveting your shirt.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, Priya, I was going to ask, because obviously it's Fashion Week, we're on our last day. Is that, how was it different showing digitally, and how do you feel about having this digital platform versus the in real life experience?
Do you know what? It's so two completely different things. I think with a physical fashion show, I love the energy and the atmosphere and theatrics, and you know, we're running around like headless chickens trying to get everything in line, and I love that. And I think you can make a real 360 experience for someone, you know, like sound, everything. But what I have loved about all the digital fashion weeks since the very first one is that it's enabled me to connect with people from around the world that wouldn't normally be able to be at Fashion Week. And I think it really does democratize the whole process. You know, like I can engage with people that wouldn't normally get a ticket to a show, or, you know, don't really know much about fashion weeks. And I actually think that that's really, really positive for the brand. So, you know, I definitely do want to have physical events again, but I think it's really made me think about how I can merge that with digital, you know, communication methods.
No, it's been really interesting to see how the engagement has grown sort of season on season through these digital fashion weeks. And I think this week, as we've had incredible creativity and we really needed it at this moment in time, but that global engagement is definitely growing. You're of course part of our New Gen scheme, and we're very proud of New Gen. It was sort of one of the original talent support schemes coming through. We do have a big international audience on today, so I wondered if you want to share a little bit around what being part of New Gen means to you and how maybe it's supported your business so far.
Yeah, it's really funny actually. I don't even think I've told you this, but I remember when I was like a student and I was interning, and a lot of brands that I really admired were part of New Gen. And I remember I would like, well, you know, I'm quite a researcher, and I would know exactly who was getting New Gen at what point. And I thought it was amazing. And to be honest, I didn't necessarily think I would be a part of it. So when I got to be a part of it, it was great. And I think we're really lucky to have it for so many reasons. One is that we have a group of peers, and like I have all the other designers that are part of New Gen, and you know, we all get on so well, and we can, you know, help each other, you know, swap facilities or whatever with each other, which is great. But also I think it's what London and New Gen and the BFC is an example of one city in the world that really does support fashion designers, and it means that we get a platform to communicate, and it's a hard industry, so I'm just really grateful for that support as well.
And of course, being a winner of the Queen Elizabeth II Award is that you're joining quite a fantastic peer group. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's great. You know, I know all three of the past winners, and they're all amazing. And I don't know, I feel really, it's just really overwhelming. It's lovely, and I'm really proud and happy to be joining them. And they've gone on to do great things after this award, so it's really nice.
Fantastic. Well, we've got some questions coming through, both for you, Priya, and for you, Mam. So if you don't mind, I'll try and sort of take them one at a time. So Priya, for you first, you have such beautiful and diverse models. How do you go about choosing them?
Oh, so I work really closely with Troy Casting, and he is amazing and a friend of mine, but also does my casting agent. And we, you know, talk all the time about what kind of communities we want to represent, what kind of people we want to represent, what is the sort of goal of each project. And so we work really closely together on selecting those models. And yeah, he does a lot of research for me. So basically I have a great casting agent, so he really does help.
Fantastic. Mam, for you, is that you're a patron of the London College of Fashion. Thank you very much for that. How important do you think art education is in the UK?
I think it's hugely important. I think we're lucky enough in this country to have some of the best art education establishments in the world, which means that we attract people from all around the world, which keeps us fresh, and it keeps ideas coming from influences right the way around the globe. And I think it positions us incredibly well. Now, whether or not the students stay in the UK and that influence is then reflected through retail or through exhibition or whatever it is, we get that constant changing motion. And I think that's what keeps us really quite central when it comes to people's choice of where they go. And also, you can't underestimate the value that art plays in whichever form it is, whether it be fashion, music, other kinds of cultural art. It's big business, and that is, you know, it supports our economy. So I think we're really lucky in this country.
We are incredibly lucky, and such an important industry to the UK, and we need to keep championing that, I think. We've got a question from Bethan Holt. Congratulations to Priya. Has any aspect of the Queen's approach to fashion ever inspired you in your work?
I'm not sure. I always love the Queen's fashion, but I guess because I do menswear, I'm generally more so looking at different men within society, I guess. But she is a fashion icon, so.
She is, and a bit like this award is that use fashion diplomacy so well, is that when you look back through the incredible looks that she's had going to international countries, and really a nod to all of the different cultures and cultural sensitivities, it's incredible actually.
Yeah.
What's next for you, Priya? That's from Lisa Marie Sickand.
I guess I'm just going to try and work hard on developing my brand in so many ways. You know, I want to make it a great business where I'm able to engage with different communities and work with, you know, different projects and different manufacturers and build my team. I have a great team that are part of the reason I'm here. So I want to foster those relationships and, you know, grow brand awareness and yeah, just keep going. I don't know, everything's really nice and enjoyable, so I don't have any huge plans to change anything drastically. So
so I've got a question from Edward Enenfall, is that he'd like to know what's the most important lesson, if that's the right word, this pandemic has taught you about yourself?
Do you know, the most important lesson, I think it's made me really realize that I know what I'm doing. I know that sounds really weird, but like to trust that I know what I'm doing, trust my instincts, and that I really care about communication. I've realized that I found that isolation so hard, and that it's going to be an integral part of how I work in this industry, to make communication between different people, whether that's, you know, me and my audience, or whether it's me and suppliers and manufacturers, making that a more joyous occasion. I think that, yeah, I definitely have figured that out about myself.
Fantastic. Ma'am, I've got a couple for you. In your opinion, what makes British style so unique?
Oh, again, well, I think we're an island, and islanders, even though it's quite a large island, islanders tend to look outwards. And I think right the way across hundreds of years, we've benefited from so many different influences, north, south, east, and west. And I think we tend to take those influences and then slightly make them or claim them as our own. And I think over time that's helped us develop a certain sense of style. And, you know, you just have to, you know, if you look at what royal women have worn over generations and really going back in history, they always made huge fashion statements, but often those statements perhaps were influenced from foreign shores. Because we've been inveterate travelers all the way along. As I say, we're an island and we tend to look outwards. So I think that's possibly what helps to make our style.
And that takes me on to the second part of the question, which is, how would you describe your own style?
Work in progress. I think it's developed over time. I think probably reasonably classic, but I like things with a bit of a twist, where they're not just just something with a bit of a twist, but I sometimes get a bit braver and then retreat again. But I don't know, it's very difficult to describe your own style. It's much easier for somebody else to describe your style.
So true. And I know that you would be asked in person if we were all together. Do you want to tell us what you're wearing today?
Yes, I'm flying the British flag. I'm wearing Victoria Beckham. Yeah.
Fantastic. I actually have a comment coming in from Jackie Newbold, who says that Angela Kelly, who is the Queen's dresser, says huge congratulations for such a wonderful collection, Priya. And I think it's go on.
Thank you. Oh, I'm very overwhelmed.
It's probably worth saying is that Angela actually helped design that beautiful award that sat next to you. So
thank you so much, honestly. I'm just, over the moon.
We've got some lovely comments coming through. So congratulations, Priya, on setting a new standard in the industry for both diversity and sustainability.
Thank you.
One, which is, do you have any plans to move into children's wear, specifically babies? I've got a few friends that are starting to have babies, so for them I'm sure I'm going to do something kind of cute and special, but that will be a long-term goal, not immediate. But I'm sure we'll do some Ahluwalia kids wear one day. How do you feel people will dress once the pandemic's over, and do you imagine that people might be more experimental?
Oh, I definitely think people will be more experimental. I think history shows us that after any collective trauma or time of stress, people really do act out and go wild, I think. So hopefully we see some great looks. I'm looking forward to it.
A question from the lovely Rosie Nixon, editor of Hello, is that whose style do each of you both most admire?
Oh, it's a hard one.
It's a really tough one, isn't it? When you're put on the spot.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a really good question.
Because it's a difficult one, because I know how things work. So when I think about like celebrities I really like their stylists' work. I don't know the stylist's name, but I always love what Rihanna wears.
And there's two people for me who I think Angelina Jolie, I always think she looks amazing. And also Queen Rania of Jordan always looks stunning.
True, very true. We've got more congratulations coming in from people that you'll know, Priya. So Natalie Kingham from Matches, Stephanie Martinetto from Tomorrow, and from Rupert Daniels, he's got a question on international expansion and experts. What markets are of interest to you, and how easy is good advice to come by?
Oh, God, good question. What markets? I mean, I feel like a real global child. I mean, I'm definitely British, and I'm definitely a London girl, but I love traveling, and I love, different cultures and stuff. So, I would love to be successful across Asia, Africa, America, Oceania, everywhere really. I mean, everywhere that will have me, I'll be happy to be. And in terms of advice, I've been really fortunate. I've had some great experiences meeting great people in my time in the industry, whether it's the people from the British Fashion Council, I'm a part of a Matches for Innovator program, and people from LVMH, Adidas. There's been lots of different people I've met along the way. And I think that the thing is, people actually like being asked for help. If you say to someone, I'm really a big fan of you, or I really think that you could teach me something, a lot of the time people are actually really up for a conversation. So I think I've just managed to ask people, and luckily they've given me help in return.
Fantastic. Well, there's many, many more congratulations coming through from everybody. So we will share the list with you, because there's too many to mention. But we have run out of time already. As we said before we went live, is that this was going to absolutely fly by. Your Royal Highness, thank you so much for your time today. Huge congratulations to Priya on your very well-deserved win. Is that very proud to add you to the fantastic list of Queen Elizabeth II Award for British Design honorees. And on behalf of everyone at the British Fashion Council, thank you all that were able to join us for this brilliant webinar. We do hope that we will be back in person by the time we do the award, of course, this time next year, but hopefully indeed for next Fashion Week. Thank you all very much. Congratulations, Priya, again. Ma'am, thank you so much.
Great pleasure. Thank you, Priya. Well done. Thank you for letting me share this platform with you. It's wonderful to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.